Hello all, and good morning. Uh, didn't really get a chance to do a proper outro last night. Uh, had been up since about 2 a.m., and after we got done eating, we got back here right about 7:30, somewhere in there, just as it was starting to get dark, and I was ready to crash. I took a shower and fell asleep pretty quickly last night, but I wanted to show you something before we do leave, as we're about ready to check out here in the next few minutes, get back on the road. I just want to show you the view from our room here. So, as I said last night, we're staying in Hiawassee, Georgia, and here's the deck of our room, and this is the view from the front of the hotel. Absolutely gorgeous view of the Blue Ridge Mountains up here. And now you would think this room would be quite expensive for the night, but this was actually the cheapest room we could find in Hiawassee for only $70 a night. Now granted, this is the middle of March, so I would say that tourism isn't quite booming here this time of year, but that's when I like to get out the most, and everybody else is still home. Now I was going to do some songwriting or something out here on the deck last night, but it was pouring down rain, unfortunately. Had a good cool breeze going, and I really didn't feel like sitting out here that much longer. As I said, I was about to pass out as soon as we got in. But again, I just wanted to share this beautiful view with you from Lake Chatuge Lodge in Hiawassee, Georgia. Hello all. Where would you like to ride today? The countryside? How about the city? Maybe a mountain forest? Or a sandy beach? No matter how far away, or in our own backyard, I hope you'll ride along. Alright, we are back on the road, headed for Hayesville, North Carolina right now. We're going to get some breakfast, maybe make a couple of stops there, and then we're going to head for Murphy, North Carolina, and then just go into Tennessee for just a little bit today. We'll be back there in a couple days, even more, but just going to go right to the edge and ride back down a road I've been wanting to take for quite some time now. But again, for right now, we're gonna head straight to Hayesville. Should be there in just about 5 minutes, and we'll see you then. So it appears as though they're turning this into a 4-lane highway through here. I know the first time I ever came through here, and the last time, just a couple of years ago as well, it was just like you see here, just that 2-lane. But it does look like they are expanding this. Not sure what their actual plans are through here. But it'd be interesting to see how far along they've come next time through here. And we are now coming into Hayesville, North Carolina. Now, I wish you could see it for the first time the way I saw it for the first time. Coming up US 64 from Franklin early in the morning, crossing over, I'm not sure the name of the mountain, but crossing over that, coming down into the valley where Lake Chatuge is, and Hayesville at the heart of it. And just as I'm coming down that mountain, seeing this beautiful valley in front of me, it was a sight I truly can't forget. But unfortunately, we're not going that way today. And on that trip was also my first time going to Georgia. The road we just got off of was the road I took to Georgia to see for the first time, and naturally, as I said, that's quite a little bit different now. But we're going to get something to eat real quick, and then I'll show you just a little bit of the town that's had such an impact on my life. So we've got done eating, and I had to stop in to a place that is truly the most nostalgic store for me, and I believe my bassist Marshall Lawless would agree, and that would be an Ingles supermarket. Now, Mount Airy used to have an Ingles years ago. There is still one in Elkin, right around our singer Stephen Midnight's neck of the woods, but I'm not down that way too much, but that is the closest Ingles to me now. And there's one in around Walnut Cove, North Carolina, too. But naturally, the one in Mount Airy was not nearly as giant as this one is. Now, the first time I ever came to Hayesville, I saw this Ingles, and this is like an amusement park to me, mainly just for the nostalgia. But, I mean, there's a huge deli section in here, made-to-order food, gas station out here, and I know a lot of Ingles in the area do have this. And to my knowledge, I think Ingles is still pretty localized around the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. There might be one or two in Virginia, I'm not sure. But I don't really think they leave this general area. But I just have so many memories of foods from the past, or just foods I haven't tried in years, Mr. P's Pizza is one of those. I know they're kind of everywhere, but I just have those memories of picking them out of the deep freeze at Ingles and Mount Airy when I was 3-4 years old. A lot of drinks too. They used to have one called Crystal Clear, which was like a flavored seltzer water, but it actually had sugar in it, so it actually tasted like something other than battery acid. Shasta used to make a strawberry kiwi soda. Used to get that. Loved it. There was one, this was, kind of everywhere too, back in up until the late 90s or so. Brownie chocolate, which was much like Yoo-hoo, but just a little different. I think it was just a little bit chocolatier, and I always loved that. A lot of drinks, and all sports drink. So many drinks, foods that would bring back so many memories if I could try them again. But one thing that I can find here, actually, is another old favorite of mine, ski. Now, if you've never had this, this is lemon lime, or I should say a citrus soda, natural citrus soda, much like Sundrop. And I used to drink this quite a bit when I was younger, and out of nowhere, couldn't find it anymore. This is one of the only areas I know I can even find it anymore, and I believe it's because it is bottled in Chattanooga, which is not very far from here. We'll actually be a little bit closer to it here in a little bit, but not going out there today. But yeah, so if I'm in this area, I always pick up a 4-pack of ski. I drink them special occasions only. Don't want to burn through them too quick, so I can let them last a little while, savor them. But it's always good to just taste my childhood again. But we're going to get on the road. Going to see a little bit of the town, maybe head to the lake here while it's cleared up now. Hopefully we can miss the rain for the better part of the day, and we'll be on the open road soon. So here we are at the base and spillway of Chatuge Dam. It is an earthen dam, you know, nothing really too special to look at. It's still a engineering marvel to know how much water that's holding back. Lake is a good bit drier right now, but still always, I just have some fascination with dams, especially actual concrete ones. One I would like to go out to again in this area is Fontana Dam. Went there a couple of years ago. Not going to get to really head out that way today. We will be seeing some Fontana Lake, but next time we're in the area, definitely want to check that out again and some of the other dams in that part of the state. But we're going to head up to the top now and take a look at the lake. There's Bell Mountain, where we were just yesterday. Probably a good bit clearer view today, but no less windy. Okay, so it's a lake. It's very beautiful, but I am spending an awful lot of time here. Why, you may ask? Well, as I said yesterday, when I first made my way out to Hayesville, I had absolutely no idea what was here aside from a McDonald's. Now, I did know there was a dam here, but when I got here and actually saw this lake, it was far more beautiful than I could have imagined. And on that first trip here, I spent a lot of time on this dam. The 2 days I was here, I say I'd probably spent about 2 hours here on the first, and then maybe right about the same on the second day, even while it was pretty rainy those days. There was just something about this lake. As I said, it was a soul-searching trip for me, as I put it. And being here really helped me find it, so to say. Now the lake is a good bit lower than it was my first time here, but that still makes it no less beautiful. The mountains completely surrounding it, and very cloudy day, half of these mountains are still surrounded in the clouds, but I don't know, words really can't describe this place, and pictures and videos do it no justice. So if you are in the area of southwest North Carolina and northeast Georgia, definitely check out Chatuge Lake or the dam in Hayesville. Definitely a sight to see for yourself. Alright, so we're going to head back into town now and take a quick look at the small town of Hayesville, North Carolina, before we head on up the open road. And we have just now gassed up for our second day on the road. We are leaving the very McDonald's that is the only thing I knew of in this town when I first came. McDonald's with a gas station combo, known now as the local market. I want to say it was called something like the Aztec the last time I was through here. But we're just gonna take a quick little ride around downtown and see if anything's changed in the last couple of years. So we're now actually entering the city limits, if you want to call them that. Little Italian place on the side here. Hayesville Middle School on our right. As you can see, there's not a lot to this town. We are coming up on the downtown portion, so to say. Little antique shop here. I did go in there on my first trip here. Very small place. And I actually might have went in this one too, really can't remember. But there's not a whole lot to see here, of course. They do have a beautiful courthouse. Assuming that's what that is. Fort Hembry, that's what the sign says, but I just assume being in the middle of town like that, that's what it would be. The Black Dog Tavern here. I cannot attest to the quality of any of these restaurants around here, though, because the only place I actually ate here was McDonald's. That's really all I could afford back then. Library, post office. Just some interesting little shops here along the way. Another little pizza joint, Angelo's. Of course, all side street parking here. Beautiful churches through here, though. It's the First Baptist Church of Hayesville. And of course, here on our left, something I always love in these small towns, don't know if you can see this on camera though, is George's Paint and Hardware. Something about small towns and hardware stores I absolutely love, because I feel like those are usually some of the oldest stores in town. Probably at one time old general stores. The only thing these little small towns had. As you can see, though, yeah, there's not a whole lot to offer here. Cherokee Homestead exhibit on the right. But, of course, that's what draws me to these towns, and I guess that's what drew me back then. I was trying to get away from the people I knew, the life I knew, even if just for a few days. Just somewhere where virtually nobody knew me. And, you know, what better place than this small little map dot that nobody where I'm from has ever heard of. Now, on the right, again, probably not able to see this, there's a little row of houses off behind us here. And I did go to a yard sale that one of these houses was having while I was here. Picked up a little pocket watch. And that's the only thing I really took home material-wise from this town. The only souvenir. Just something to remind me of that very influential trip at a very influential time in my life. But it's another 16 miles to Murphy now. We're going to hit the open road here for just a little bit. See just a little bit of the town of Murphy. A couple other little attractions here and there. And then we'll hit some much needed open road. So we are now in Murphy, North Carolina, which is pretty much as far west as you can get in North Carolina. They're the farthest west actual town, I guess you'd say, before crossing over into Tennessee. This is a pretty old little town. Not going to spend too much time here today, but again, I just want to show some of the architecture here, some of these old buildings. Some absolutely beautiful buildings here. This one on my right, of course. That was the old Cherokee County Courthouse, which I guess I say old. I suppose it is still in use. Quite a few people going in and out of there. Now, the town of Murphy does have a little bit more going for it as for tourism, shopping, than Hayesville does. Now, my trip out here, I actually spent quite a bit of time in Murphy as well, walking these streets downtown. A few nice little shops, a few nice little restaurants too at that. But Murphy was a little more run down when I was here the first time. But now that there's the new Harrah's Cherokee Valley River Casino, I think that's the name of it, a little bit more tourism to this town now, and quite a bit more has been developed actually since then. A lot of the old buildings are now being repurposed, and it still has that very old small town charm to it. Now there used to be some older bridges through here, old iron truss bridges that I do love, of course. I think they've actually replaced a lot of those, though. The older ones, I guess, for safety reasons. Still a very nice little town, though. Right at the edge of western North Carolina. Now, if you paid attention, I've really only made one turn. I went straight into town and then turned right in the middle of town. I haven't been paying attention to the street names, but you really can't get lost here because all the roads really just make one giant loop. Now, I wasn't recording this, but I actually just passed a Sears store that is still open, believe it or not, along with a Save-A-Lot. I thought pretty much all the Save-A-Lot stores had closed down. Okay, so gonna pause right here for a minute because I honestly can't believe that I didn't mention this while I was filming, but that Save-A-Lot that we just passed just happened to be the very Save-A-Lot that Eric Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber, was caught at back in 2003 while he was rummaging the dumpsters early in the morning. Now, I don't know why this slipped my mind. I knew good and well that he was caught at the Save-A-Lot in Murphy, but for whatever reason it didn't even dawn on me until the next day when his name came up again from somebody else, but we'll get to that in day 3 of this video. So again, sorry that we don't get to see the dumpsters on this trip, but I promise the next time I'm in the Murphy area, I will show you the very dumpsters where Eric Rudolph was captured. Anyways, back on the road. Then here's a Circuit World that lists electronics, appliances, maybe trying to be a little better than Circuit City, but didn't look quite up to size. And then just right here on the edge of town, yet another Walmart I have spent a night of my life in the parking lot of. Now, I say you can't get lost here, but it might kind of throw your bearings off just a little because of how the roads do act through here. I know I'd been to a lot of these little shops. There was a little music store I saw through here, and I was thinking it was on another side of town, but again, though, that has been about 8 years ago now, so maybe my memory is not as good as I thought it was. So yeah, with just 2 right turns, you can see pretty much all the town has to offer. And now we're back on US Highway 64, headed for the Tennessee line. Now, US 64 is the longest highway in the state of North Carolina. Take you all the way from the Outer Banks to the Tennessee line here in the panhandle of the state, you might call it. I don't remember the exact number of miles, but it is quite a bit. stretches all the way across the state, east to west, and of course goes on farther, I want to say to around Texarkana, or maybe on into Texas. I can't remember exactly, but a pretty good stretch. Now, we're not going to be riding the highway all the way out to the Tennessee line. We'll be taking a different road here in just a short little while that'll get us to Tennessee. And we'll see what's in store there. So here we are at Field of the Wood. This is a beautiful Christian themed park and home to one of, if not, I would say, most likely, the world's largest 10 Commandments. So back in 1903, when A.J. Tomlinson was founding the Church of God Prophecy in the most western part of North Carolina, the Wright brothers were making their first successful flight in the farthest eastern part of the state. Realizing this almost 40 years later, Tomlinson created Fields of the Wood and constructed this 300-foot wide 10 Commandments to be visible by airplane. So I thought it was only appropriate to send the drone over to view it the way it was meant to be. So something else that's very much worth the visit if you were in the Murphy, North Carolina area. But now we're going to head out to just across the Tennessee line and start making our way back on the Cherryhala Skyway.